Hi and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to have more of a deep dive into Ocean Swift's Dystopia diary. Hopefully you watched the first video that I did last week. It just kind of was giving you a heads up about the NKS sale, which will probably have finished by the time that this video comes out. You can still buy it from Ocean Swift or Native Instruments for round about €60 or £50. So the first thing is there is a bit of a glitch. Now in the first video I mentioned that I'd emailed Ocean Swift. They got back to me within about 10-15 minutes. So I'll just show you the email that I sent them. So basically this is me saying, hopefully you guys can help me out. I just bought Dystopia diary from Native Instruments and I'm working my way through the presets. I have come across a few that have all 6 layers switched on, but only 3 are playing. For instance, Collective Matrix in drones. I've tried every button combination and switching samples, but these layers will still not play. Is there a reason for this or just a glitch? They are saying thanks for grabbing DD, and it's always fun to see users jumping deep into it. The bug you reported is a weird Kontakt engine issue. We have reported to NI and are in touch with them about it. One of the devs in the Kontakt team is a good friend, and I have now added your report as well to show that multiple users are catching this issue. So we have found an equally odd workaround for now. So when you first launch the Kontakt instrument, load any other instrument and then replace it with DD, and the bug magically no longer happens. Hopefully this will get fixed on the Kontakt side soon rather than later. We are quite annoyed by this ourselves. That is one of the co-founders who used to work with Native Instruments. So if I go to drones and Collective Matrix, you'll see that this has 6 layers. So I'll press any key and you'll see what happens. So only the first 3 layers are playing off this preset. And I thought, well, maybe that's supposed to happen, or like switching these off and back on again doesn't seem to help. So I switch them off, switch them back on again, nothing happens. That was the issue that I had. So if we go to Haifa, load that. So that's working. Delete that and go back to Dystopia diary and then go to edit, drones, and then Collective Matrix. See it loaded in the samples, and then now it works. Don't ask me why, but that is the workaround. So it's not a big problem because once you've done it, that's it. It's fine for that session. So anytime you load Dystopia diary, you have to delete it and then delete anything else, just whatever, another Kontakt instrument. And you can see they're all working. So if we go back and then you can see all the banks, because I didn't really go through the banks in the first video. So you've got an init, but you've just not got one init. This is quite clever. You've got inits for chatter. I still don't know quite sure what Elmooht is. The fast, industry, military, noise, outside. So you've got all these inits. So these are the actual categories. So dreams is the one that we kind of had a bit of a look at. 180 presets drones, and there's 28 in drones. And there is indoor, and 28 in indoor. Military, 30. Outdoor is 47, transport 11, effective is 42, playable, so that's basically with fixed, switched off and track on, so it's a playable instrument. There are 49, carpets single, and Elmooht, I don't know, I'm going to have to ask them how to pronounce this, Elmooht, and then there's 28 of those. So if we go back to all banks, there's 656 presets. So that should keep you busy for quite a while. And then obviously you've got your 6 layers, and then within that, so these are your categories here as well. So you can go in and go to carpets. So these are all the individual WAV files for carpets. Now you're going, what is a carpet? So we'll just have a look and see. So I have got another screenshot. I didn't actually scroll down in the first video kind of far enough so that you could actually see this. So I'm going to just go over what each of these is all about. So the carpets are long evolving soundscapes, perfect for creating backdrops and setting a scene. Industry is the grind and hum of construction machinery, generators and industrial drones. Military is the sound of planes, drones, tanks, alarms, UAVs and military convoys to bring tension and intensity. Noise is pure and atmospheric noise sources, both synthesized and sampled. Outside is a spectrum of environmental sounds from nature to urban ambiences, so birds, beaches, rains, church bells, lawnmowers, and more. So chatter is captured shortwave radio transmissions, police and air traffic scanners, old answering machines, and public domain government recordings. Twilight is shortwave radio weirdness, so surreal, mysterious, and perfect for stepping into the sonic unknown. Transport is the hustle of airports, trains, cars, buses, and traffic-related soundscapes. Tune is playable drones and tuned atmospheres crafted from Ocean Swift's own synth creations. So untune is untuned atmospheres with tonal richness but no defined pitch. And then Elmooht is rare tracks from Elmooht and Ocean Swift's founder's experimental ambient alias transformed into eerie, melancholic soundscapes and deep drones. Right, so that's what Elmooht is. And then Porphyra is their other synth. So there's factory patches of the Porphyra hybrid synthesizer recorded and processed into rich tones. And then User is an empty menu for your own custom sounds, enabling seamless integration of your own content. Go through some of the first presets. So Abandoned Station. And it will take a wee while to load some of the presets, because as you can see, it loads in a lot of layers, but there's only 3 of them that are going to play. So, and I might turn this up a bit, because it is quite subtle, some of it. And like I said on the intro, these do play at all different speeds. So you got 4 minutes, and then if you, instead of just pressing and holding the key and having to hold it for 4 minutes, if you go back to main, you can switch drone on, and then that will just, so if I press it once, that's it. I've taken my finger off the key, and it will just carry on going. So, and it'll stop. And if you lock it, that means that if you change a preset, it will keep drone on, so you can just go through the presets and it will just play continuously. You've got 11 seconds as opposed to 4 minutes, and then 25 seconds, 3 seconds. So you get this evolving soundscape. For instance, you could switch layer 1 off, that's really long, and then switch these other layers on. So these are all quite short, and we can see what that sounds like. So on my S61 Mark III, this is designed specifically for this keyboard, any of the S series keyboard, default window are basically all the volumes, and then page 2 is the filters, and then you can edit, and you can go into all the different layers. So for instance, I can play this and then automatically adjust the volumes. That's the master volume, and then the volume for each layer, just like that, which is kind of what you're going to be doing probably quite a lot if you're going to muck about with so many layers. It's just a shame that page 2 is not the pans. I kind of would have preferred page 2 just to go, or have more pages on this bit without going into edit, so that you could just do the pans as well. It kind of seems an obvious thing to have. So page 2, if we go back to main, will adjust the filter. So it's on filter 1. So you can select filter 1, 2, and then the amp. So filter 1, I can adjust the cutoff, the res, and switch on the depth, and sync and rate. And you can also adjust, which I don't think I've actually ever seen, you can actually adjust the this window as well. So you can adjust everything in here from the keyboard. So I can adjust the phaser and turn it into a vowel A, vowel B, the monarch, LP1, LP2. So yeah, I mean, it's like really, really deep. The retrigger switched on for the depth and the rate. So I can adjust that. And then that's the monarch low pass. So how cool is that? And then, as I said, I can switch it to the, if I can switch to amp, and then I can adjust the attack, release, all from the keyboard. flipping brilliant is what that is. I don't think I've ever seen the mapping for things like the Windows before. I mean, yeah, the main controls, but that is really cool. Let us get into how this actually works. So like I said, you've got your edit window, and then you've got your 6 layers, and then you've got your fixed and your track. So you've got a track, then that will put that across the whole keyboard. You've got tune, loop, filter, velocity LFO and pitch LFO, stereo and lo-fi. And then you've got the effects, so you can see that this particular preset just has the delay on. So if we switch presets and go to Alien Graveyard, you can see that the reverb and the delay is on. So you've got creative, mod, reverb and delay. So the creative one, you've got freak, fuzz, screamer, dirt, bite and color. So these, most of those are Native Instruments kind of plugins. And then the reverbs, you've got the ROM, play, Gallios and none. And then the mods, you've got more Native Instruments. You've got choral, phases, flare, phaser, flanger, vibrato, chorus and wow, flutter. And then the delays, you've got replica, twin and psyche. So absolutely brilliant stuff, because I love ROM. I mean, ROM's my favorite, and not only that, but it has all the presets. So my favorite is Cosmic Paranoia, and so you can just pick the presets. I mean, how cool is that? So you can adjust all the feedback, the reverb, mod, ray, everything. And then we could put on replica as well, and then presets for that. So we could go to darkly. And if I go into edit mode, I can probably edit all that from the keyboard as well. So that is your effects, and then options, as I said, is fairly basic. There's not the manual's like 3 paragraphs, so you can go to pitch bend or mod, and then you can switch so you got the velocity, depth, rate, pitch, depth, rate and volume, pitch, and then filter 1, filter 2. So you could switch the mod wheel to adjust filter 2, and then you could say adjust the cutoff. So that's taking the cutoff off on the mod wheel. Or you could put it up and bring in the res. So that's the mod wheel going. So yeah, and then the animations. So I'm thinking, what animations? So if we go back to the main page, you can see the animation is this light. It's quite subtle, so it did take me a wee while to see it. So it'll just keep flashing off and on. So if we go to options, you can turn that off and it just stays on. So it's not going to ruin the CPU, but you know, you might want to switch it off if you're using a lot of like multi-layers. That's kind of it really. So it's fairly straightforward, and like I said, you can copy, paste and reset the layers. Then you've got solo is yellow and mute is red. So that is the lo-fi. So we go back to volume tune, and then we could bring the pan back in. Just the volume. You've got stereo spread, and then lo-fi you've got bit and frequency. So, and then obviously adjust the tune. You could detune it by semitones or fine tune it. So that's Chatter Creep 3. It's quite creepy. So that's it. Like I said, it's fairly straightforward, and I do like it. I do like the way that it works. It's really, really well thought out. So I'll just run through some of the presets first, and then I'll do another video with some of the other Native Instruments plugins. And like I said, I'd favorited Collective Matrix, so we'll just hear what this is like. So I can adjust the master volume quite easily. Or the volume's on P1 and 2, bringing them down. If we switch track on and solo this, so that's C3, which is what it's defaulted to. That is the natural. So I'll just turn the volume back up. And then C4, C5, C2, C1. So, like I said, you can actually play these as an instrument, and that's quite a good one to play. So we could do that with the second one as well, and just see what the... So like I said, it's not just for soundscapes. You can actually play this as an instrument, especially like I said, when you're using it with something else. You can put on the, because there is a whole batch of playable presets. So what I say, there's 49 playable presets. So we'll have a look at that maybe in another video as well. So we'll go to indoor engine room. We'll have a go at that. I love these chatter things, and they're just so cool. And there is some freebies on the website. I didn't even mention that on the video. There is freebies on the website that you can download of speeches and kind of other recordings of like the traffic stuff or the police and all the radio transmissions. So I'll download, and we can have a look at some of those in another video as well. To military, death machines. And you do have to wait. So it's loaded in, that's just the thing, it's loaded in presets, but they're switched off. So there's only the first two. And I should really just switch this on and lock it. So I can go hands-free. And then we can go back to, if we go to edit, and then you can adjust all the other parameters without. So that's the volume, and then I can go back to main and play around with the filter on page 2. So go back to filter 1, and then we can change the filter type. Right, I'll put on the phaser, and then we'll take the res down, and then bring up the depth. So we can, that's viol A. Bring up the res. And then I can switch to filter 2, so we can adjust both filters from the keyboard. Put Daft on, whatever Daft is. Daft Punk. So that's the res. Cut off down and bring up the res up. How cool is that? This is going to go on for way too long. I mean, only right, outdoor Amazonia. That's what I like it. Birdies. fan them off a bit. And then we could add in, well no, actually not, add in another one down here, layer 5. And then we could add in the beach. So you can see the first carpet is 2.5 minutes. So they're very long, the carpets. Transport, air control, we'll just try the first one. So that has got 4. So this is going to be great to, I think, combining this with soundbox and things like Morphosis and War of the Worlds and the new one that's just come out, Dark Star. Yeah, I love all that stuff. Active. Let's try the first one. At least you got a master volume on the first page, which is very good. Right, let's try digital communication. I said you do have to wait because there are some quite long samples.
But how to obtain enough material for even a single bomb? Only a small fraction of natural uranium is the U-235 isotope, which will fission in a chain reaction. And to separate enough U-235 quickly enough seemed all but impossible.
How cool is that? I'll definitely be using that in something. Well, I'm going to go back to the playable ones and we'll look at that in a separate video. So we'll just play the first of the carpets. I need to call it a day because this has gone on way too long. Alright, I'll try Alien Factory. See, so they've loaded in other samples for you to sort of add in. So for instance, these are obviously suggestions that kind of go with it. And then we've got the Elmooht as well. Oh, Blue Explode, I favorited one already. Right. Right, so we could bring in some chatter. Maybe a chopper. So that is it for our first proper look at Dystopia Diary. It's easy to use, but it's quite complex. So like I said, I'm going to do quite a few other videos just exploring the playability of this, and because I haven't gone through all 650 presets yet, so I'll go through some more of those and I'll play you some from the different categories. Like I said, you've got 11 categories and like I said, they've got loads of in it. So hopefully you have enjoyed that look at Dystopia Diary, and it is very cool. And like I said, the mapping is next level, and I've not even really got right into doing all the layers and stuff. So like I said, I'll certainly explore that as well in the next video. So anyway, so thanks for watching, and as usual, if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, share and comment, and I will see you in the next Dystopian Diary.